quite recently, Richard Chamberlain passed away, and I think the notice said he was most famous for playing Dr. Kildare. I never saw him, Dr. Kildare, and it was on TV. He was always the man on TV, except where we were, he was on the man who was in the TV movies, which makes him a movie star, certainly for me. And one of the movies, or the type of movies he was in, was always the Alexandre Dumas films. He was in that 1972 and 73 two movies of the Three Musketeers. He played Aramis. Absolutely highly recommend, by the way. But the review that I'm going to do today is about another Alexandre Dumas book, The Man in the Iron Mask, which is also a mask. It's complicated. We're getting to it. The reason I wanted to do this movie, it's the ITV, which is British Commercial Television. The station that made most of the stuff there was called ITC, is the company, and ITV is the channel. In the 70s, they did a whole bunch of these book films, especially adventure book films, with a lot of great actors and a lot of great locations. And this is one of them, The Man in the Iron Mask, Alexandre Dumas book. This book there's a whole bunch of problems with this book. Dumas wrote his Three Musketeers saga in bits and pieces because he didn't write books. He wrote serials in the newspaper, like a chapter here, a chapter there, a short story here, a longer story there, like a story that lasted 47 chapters for 47 weeks or 47 months, I'm not sure. And the Man in the Iron Mask is a sort of a mix and match of all kinds of different things. Dumas liked to use actual history. The Three Musketeers, D'Artagnan is a real existing guy, and of course the King and the Queen and all that are real existing people, and he tried to sort of stick to that story. And the story of Louis XIV, who was a young man when he became king, there was this persistent rumor, it's not true, of a twin brother that was spirited away and is out there somewhere. And that's what the story is. And the book is more about the Musketeers. So this film is not. This film is about the Man in the Iron Mask, this brother of the king, Philip, played by Richard Chamberlain. He is a little too old for the part, but I don't really care because he plays Philippe, the brother, but also his brother, his twin, Louis. And they are totally different. And what makes this movie interesting, and there are a lot of problems with the movie, but what makes it interesting is watching Richard Chamberlain play both these parts, who are completely different people, very, very well. And it's also the way they're dressed and the way he holds his face. Louis, under his curly wig, he holds it in a certain pinched way, and the other one doesn't. So this film is based on the book. They take up a lot of the story. One problem when anyone who does this story, The Man in the Iron Mask, is that history knows that Louis XIV, the Sun King, ain't not a nice fella. He reigned for a very long time, and he not a nice fella for a long time. And if your story is that is the story of Man in the Iron Mask, is that certain factions decide to find this brother Philippe in the hope that he is nicer and substitute him with Louis. Because Dumas is trying to do a reality, the plot fails. Spoiler for the book, the plot fails spectacularly. And Louis stays and is the despicable Sun King that we know about. There is not a single movie that I've ever seen, and I an Amanda Eyes movie, that did not change this ending, because that ending sucks. And they give it many different twists, and this one it works. It just works. It gives it a happy ending, and I think that makes this a fanfic. This is the fanfic fix-it version of the story, with a very charming Philippe, a moderately despicable Louis. Is not even terrifically despicable. He's not nice, but he's not despicable. He was way more despicable in the real time, and in the original book as well. The factions involved in the book, it doesn't matter. Here it is D'Artagnan and a political gentleman called Colbert. He was made up for this particular movie. I think in the book it's Athos and Aramis, I believe, who are on the one side. Colbert is a minister of the interior, I believe. So, because this is on the cusp of where kings are the full government, and they're starting to relegate things to like ministers of interior and minister of police, and all that stuff is starting to happen. But Louis is still an absolute monarch. D'Artagnan on the one side with Colbert, D'Artagnan played by Louis Jourdain and Colbert by Ralph Richardson. A charming thing about this movie is because they have Louis Jourdain and they are filming largely in France. In actual Fontainebleau, they're filming some of these scenes in the actual palace where this stuff would have happened. The main speaking is English, of course, but then they're putting on a play, and it is in real French, and they're calling D'Artagnan, and not anything else. Thank you for Louis Jourdain for probably insisting on it. The rest of the cast is all British. We have Patrick McGoohan, who everybody knows from The Prisoner, sort of going, I know that voice. I know that voice. It's the guy from The Prisoner. Wow. And he plays the faction, the other faction, the pro Louis faction. So D'Artagnan and this Colbert. There is a lot of toing and throwing with poor Philippe being dragged from one place to the second place, and then getting fitted with that mask, and then getting rescued from that mask. And it is an adventure movie. It's meant to be an adventure movie, but the young hero is Philippe, and the older hero is D'Artagnan. And it culminates in a moment where Philippe and D'Artagnan are in the house preparing to substitute him, but he has to learn a bunch of things like swordsmanship and dancing. And so he's dancing. Richard Chamberlain is dancing with Louis Jourdain to a lad playing a recorder, and it's charming. I love it. It's charming. It's unpretentious kind of charming. There's a lot of things wrong with this movie. Let's make that very clear, because they lost a lot of plots or axed a lot of plots, and they want to do their action stuff. Then there's a chase and there's a fight and there's a water moment. There's a lovely water moment for Louis Jourdain where he goes into the water and tries to save himself and nearly drowns. All filmed on location, beautifully filmed with beautiful castles and a beautiful woodland and everything beautiful. This movie is slow. And that's one of the major problems with this movie. It is slow, and it's. I watched another movie in the same series right after this, and that one has proper pacing. So it's this movie. It's not the time. It's not. It's not like this is normally this slow. No, this one happens to be slow. I don't mind. I'm enjoying the view. I mean, Louis Jourdain and they do like 4 or 5 shots of them dancing together. Hey, I'm happy. Because they're short on story, one of the stories in the book is the young lady. A young lady, and I don't remember how she actually gets to the court. Here, the bad guy brings her. She's a country girl, and she already has a bow. That's not in this movie, that's in the book. The bow is Raoul, And Raoul is the son of Athos. Hey, this is how Athos gets into this story. He's the young. Raoul is like 21 years old, and Athos he's a single father. He loves this kid so much. Raoul is about 21. He has a nice gal, but the girl is whisked off to the palace, and the king sees the girl, Louise. He sees Louise and he wants Louise, and then he finds out Louise has a bow, and so of course a son of Athos would be interested in going into the Musketeers, so he is I believe he's in the Musketeers, or at least in the army, and so Louise just sends this young man to the front line, and Raoul ends up dead. And Athos is now real pissed off, and Louise kills herself. And that's in the book. None of this is in the movie. The king is interested, Louis is interested in Louise. Louise is unattached, but she is not interested in him. He thinks he is a queep. Louis is married and has some, at least one kid, but I think more. So Louis would want her as a courtesan. It's a little time waster, basically. She's not interested. And in the middle of this switcheroo stuff, when the way they solve it is by having her meet Philippe accidentally somewhere in the castle where he and D'Artagnan are training. And she met him before when he was still in jail. They met like eye contact and now they have a chance to talk and exchange lovey-dovey looks. And so they do the instant in love thing. And then when the exchange is made, successfully, by the way, but Philippe cannot be Philippe. He has to be Louis forever, with a wife and a bunch of kids. And so the romance between him and Louise will always be a king to a courtesan relationship. But if she's happy with it, then it's fine. The other person who needs to be happy with it is the queen. And since the king, Louis, has been absolutely beastly to the queen, and now this Philippe, all he needs to do is just leave her the F alone. She's happy. She gives them the okay. Happy. I think, yeah, it's a fanfic. This is a fixed fanfic version of the story, and as such, it's wonderful. The locations, and like I said, the locations are actual locations. Interiors appear to be actual interiors in beautiful houses in France. They have like a list this long of locations where they're filming, inside and out. The outfits, they have some really lovely outfits, and the hair is not brilliant for the men. The people who wear wigs they're pretty correct. And the ladies, I don't know why. Well, I think I know why, but the older ladies have the more authentic hairstyles. The younger the lady, the more they're going to have the hairstyle of the age it was made in. It's 1977, so they're going to have the hair down when they're not supposed to have the hair down. But the queen, there's the queen mother and the queen. And the queen has a sort of a do that is it's still not correct, but it's still in the direction of what it should have been in 1620s, 1630s. With the ringlets and the updo, and pretty correct. It's not really correct. The dresses are better. The ladies' dresses should have maybe a little bit more floof in them, but they have the little puffy stuff, and it is made for TV movies. So yes, it has been filmed on film, so they can actually export it to the US, who had a different system, NTSC system versus PAL system. So, but these are meant for TV, which is slightly fuzzy. And now that I see it on a DVD version, which is way too sharp, you can see that the materials are not the right materials. But they were never meant to be the right materials, so it's fine. There's a ball scene and there's form dancing. In the 1630s there would have been form dancing, and they do it pretty nicely. And there is actually, earlier in the film, there is a performance of Louis performing for the court a dancing, and I love it. The way that Richard Chamberlain is stiff as a board, and sort of this king who is pretentious and showing off his dancing skills, stiff as a board, and everybody has to, oh, it is so wonderful. Oh, you are magnificent. Oh. The way he plays Louis is so good. I mean, Phillipe is of course the more sympathetic character, but the way he plays Louis is. This was not Richard Chamberlain's best movie, and nor is this the best version of Man in the Iron Mask ever. But it was charming in its own way, and one of the things that I like about Richard Chamberlain, anytime you see him, he takes whatever malarkey 100% serious. Because that's the only way to do it properly. That's how an actor is supposed to do it. You believe in it. Is it underproduced? Is it overproduced? You do it properly, straight. For somebody who wasn't very straight. I think, and also the relationship he has with Louise, he's keeping it very, Phillipe is very young, Louise is very young, and they're keeping it very light in a way, and believable. Yeah.
Do you think the story, the Dumas book, would have been an inspiration for The Prisoner of Zenda?
Maybe, but the thing is, and I noticed that when I watched the other movie, is that in a lot of the Dumas books, and also anytime you talk about this period, people end up in a jail cell, in many years sometimes in a jail cell, and I think that probably has to do something with the feudalness of kings and stuff, which is what Zenda also has. Is about kings, and
there was a period of ending up in a jail.
Yeah, and so I think yes and no. I think that The Prisoner of Zenda, which is written after Dumas wrote his things, are absolute. The writer will have read all of Dumas books, and so the flavor, yes.
Because in Prisoner of Zenda, the answer also has to be it has to work. Your swap has to work. Only they did it in such a way as that the original king learns something and can now be a better king.
And we already know from history that Louis XIV, no good niece, no good niece, no. And yeah. But yes, I think so. And I don't have a good ending, so that is my opinion. And I'm sticking to it.